Hola y bienvenidos. I'm excited to share this presentation with you as part of my preparation for the Master Sommelier exam. Whether you're studying for your own wine journey, a curious enthusiast, or just here to explore, I hope you will find value in what we cover today. In this video, we'll be exploring Argentina, uncovering the unique characteristics and stories behind its wines. Before we dive in, I want to highlight the trusted sources I used to create this presentation, some of my absolute favorite wine books. If you're researching or expanding your wine knowledge, these are great resources to have on your shelf. Now let's get started and uncork the secrets of Argentina. Argentina is the most important wine producing country in South America, and today it ranks as the 5th largest producer in the world. The story begins in the mid-16th century when Spanish settlers brought vine cuttings and seeds through Peru and Chile. The first grape to take root was Criolla Chica, known as País in Chile and Misión in California, which became the backbone of colonial winemaking. The very first recorded vineyard was planted in Santiago del Estero in 1557, and La Rioja soon became the oldest winemaking province, home today to the large La Riojana cooperative. By the 18th century, we start to see real innovation. Producers experimented with fortification and proto-pasteurization to preserve wines for long journeys. They even practiced fermentation in the film-forming yeasts and began building presses from brick, lime, and slate instead of the traditional wood and leather. Around this time, Argentina also carried out some of its first ampelographic studies and winery censuses. After independence in 1816, a wave of European immigrants introduced new varieties, and the first evidence of Malbec plantings appears. A landmark came in 1853 with the passing of the Water Act, which laid the foundation for large-scale irrigation in the arid Andes. That same year, a French agronomist named Michel-Aimé Pouget founded the Quinta Nacional Vine Nursery, bringing cuttings of Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, Grenache, Petit Verdot, Semillon, Malvasia, Muscat, and others. This was the true beginning of Argentina's modern wine identity. Finally, in 1885, the completion of the railway between Buenos Aires and Mendoza connected vineyards to the booming capital. This transformed Argentina into a domestic wine powerhouse, driven by popular consumption rather than elite demand. In the mid-20th century, a succession of military governments devastated the economy from the 1950s to the early 1980s, and quality suffered. Bodega's wine art stood out as an exception, producing wines that proved Argentina was capable of excellence. In the 1980s, a vine pool scheme eliminated nearly a third of Argentina's vineyards, much of it of low-quality Criolla, opening the door for better varieties. Inspired by Chile's success after the Pinochet years, Argentina began to shift its focus towards quality. The 1990s brought new economic stability, though early exports struggled because the wines were priced too high. The turning point was Nicolás Catena. After studying in California at UC Davis, he returned home and transformed his family winery, Catena Zapata. Catena pioneered high-altitude plantings, most famously the Adriana vineyard, and showed the world what Malbec could achieve. His innovations in sustainability, irrigation, and modernization inspired a whole generation of producers. The 2000s were marked by economic depression at home, but that downturn actually made Argentine wines more competitive abroad. The influence of foreign consultants like Michel Rolland, Alberto Antonini, and Paul Hobbs further raised standards. New farming and winemaking techniques, from drip irrigation and trellising systems to precision fermentation and oak maturation, brought quality to new heights. By the early 21st century, Malbec had emerged as Argentina's flagship grape, recognized worldwide for both quality and identity. With Buenos Aires as the capital, the country stretches about 2,400 miles or 3,800 kilometers from north to south. Its borders encompass the Andes to the west, the tropics to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the east, and even Antarctica to the south. Wine production is heavily concentrated in the western portion of the country near the foothills and plains of the Andes. Here, Argentina is home to some of the highest elevation vineyards in the world. In Salta, vineyards rise to nearly 3,000 meters above sea level, and in Jujuy, Aini Winery's Finca Moya Vineyards reaches 10,922 feet or 3,329 meters, ranking among the very highest anywhere. The soils, particularly in Mendoza, are typically alluvial sand over clay, which offer a natural resistance to phylloxera and contribute to the region's unique viticultural identity. Vineyards are planted between 23 and 42 degrees south latitude, while the country itself stretches all the way to 55 degrees south. Mendoza, the heart of Argentina's wine industry, sits at about 33 degrees south, roughly in line with regions like Swartland in South Africa, Australia's Hunter Valley, and Chile's Choapa Valley. If we were to fold Argentina's latitudes into the northern hemisphere, they would correspond to places like Ramona in California, the Mimbres Valley in New Mexico, and even Morocco. The climate is dry and continental, but it is significantly moderated by the Andes. One of the most distinctive climatic influences is the Zonda wind, a fierce, dusty, and very hot wind that sweeps down from the mountains in late spring and early summer. While it can help keep vineyards dry and free of disease, it can also be destructive, particularly during flowering. Summer temperatures can be extreme, frequently reaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit or about 38 degrees Celsius, adding another challenging element to vineyard management. Argentina's vineyards are home to both international classics and varieties that have taken on a distinctly local identity. On the red side, Malbec is of course the star, the variety that has come to define Argentina on the world stage. But the story doesn't end there. Bonarda, known as Corbeau in Savoie and Charbono in California, is also widely planted, offering a juicy, approachable style of wine. Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, Merlot, and Tempranillo round out the major red plantings, giving Argentina a broad palette of styles to work with. Among white grapes, the most planted is Pedro Ximénez, which interestingly has no relationship to Spain's Pedro Ximénez. Another signature grape is Torrontés, a naturally occurring cross between Criolla Chica and Muscat of Alexandria, producing highly aromatic floral wines that have become a national specialty. Chardonnay and Chenin Blanc are also well established, particularly in cooler sites. Vineyards in Mendoza are typically planted between 600 and 1600 meters above sea level, taking full advantage of the Andean altitude. Irrigation is essential, and it is made possible by snowmelt from the Andes. Traditionally, growers used furrow irrigation, redirecting river water through vineyard channels, but today drip irrigation dominates, conserving water while allowing precision viticulture. Unlike most of the wine world, almost all vines here are planted on their own rootstock. That's possible because Mendoza's sandy soils and a weaker local strain of phylloxera make ungrafted vines viable. In terms of trellising, the traditional system is parral, which creates a broad, shaded canopy. For higher quality production, vertical shoot positioning or VSP has become the standard. The main natural hazard here is hail, which can devastate crops. On the positive side, low humidity means very low disease pressure, which has encouraged this widespread adoption of organic practices. Historically, winemaking has been shaped by both tradition and international expertise. Since the 1980s, flying winemakers, international consultants, have played a crucial role in modernizing cellars, improving hygiene, and introducing new technologies. Their influence helped position Argentina for the export boom of the 1990s and 2000s. Legally, chaptalization, or the addition of sugar to raise alcohol, is not permitted. Thanks to abundant sunshine, grapes typically achieve full ripeness without intervention. In fact, the challenge is often managing concentration and alcohol rather than boosting it. Fermentation practices vary widely. Stainless steel tanks are common for preserving freshness and aromatics, while concrete vats and traditional lagares are still used in some areas, particularly for Malbec. Barrel aging is also a key stylistic choice. French oak dominates at the high end, though some producers favor American oak for a richer, spicier profile. There has also been a shift in recent decades away from overly heavy extracted wines towards fresher, more balanced expressions. This has meant experimenting with whole cluster fermentation, larger neutral oak, and amphora, along with cooler sites at higher altitudes. The country's wine industry is organized into 5 major regions: the north, centered in Salta, Cuyo, dominated by Mendoza, the central region, the Atlantic, and Patagonia to the south. The geographical hierarchy goes from region to province to department to district and finally to individual vineyards. For example, Cuyo is the region, Mendoza is the province, Luján de Cuyo is the department, Las Compuertas is the district, and then you have specific vineyards within it. In terms of labeling, Argentina requires a minimum of 85% of a grape variety in order for it to appear on the label. For blends, any variety mentioned must take up at least 20% of the wine. There are also 3 official quality designations. At the top is D.O.C, Denominación de Origen Controlada, reserved for high-quality wines with strict rules on yields, alcohol, winemaking methods, and aging. Next is IG, Indicación Geográfica, which identifies vinifera wines with regional typicity and a minimum quality level. Finally, IP, Indicación de Procedencia, applies to simpler table and regional wines. The North region spans the provinces of Jujuy, Salta, Catamarca, and Tucumán, with the Valles Calchaquíes forming the heart of viticulture in this area. Salta, one of the most prominent provinces, derives its name from the Aymara word "sacta", meaning beautiful one. The region is characterized by warm daytime temperatures and very cool nights, creating a strong diurnal variation that helps preserve acidity and aromatic intensity in the grapes. Vineyards here are planted at altitudes ranging from 2,500 to nearly 11,000 feet, making them some of the highest in the world. The Cafayate area is the most important subregion for quality wine production. While the Calchaquí Valley is not technically a province, it is designated as an Indicación Geográfica encompassing several key departments and vineyards. In terms of vineyard practice, the Parral trellising system is dominant, particularly for the aromatic white grape Torontés, which thrives under these conditions. The Cuyo region, which in the native Huarpe language means land of sand, includes the provinces of La Rioja, San Juan, Mendoza, and San Luis, and is the powerhouse of Argentine wine, producing roughly 90% of the country's total output. Within Mendoza, the most important province for quality wine, there are 5 main subregions. In North Mendoza, we find Guaymallén, Las Serras, and Lavalle, sometimes referred to as Desierto de Lavalle. This area is historically significant but less prominent in fine wine production today. East Mendoza includes Rivadavia, Junín, San Martín, Santa Rosa, and La Paz. These areas form the engine of Argentina's bulk and value wine production. Even here, though, there are pockets of quality, such as the Medrano district split between Rivadavia and Junín. The historic heart of fine wine is the Primera Zona, centered on Luján de Cuyo and Maipú. Luján de Cuyo is home to Argentina's first denomination de Origen Controlada, established for Malbec. Within it, we find important appellations such as Agrelo, Las Compuertas, and Vista Alba. Maipú, just next door, includes districts like Las Barrancas, Lunlunta, El Paraíso, and Russell. Godoy Cruz is another small but notable IG in this area. Rising higher into the mountains, the Uco Valley has become the modern star of Mendoza. Its 3 departments, Tupungato, Tunuyán, and San Carlos, host some of the region's most exciting vineyards. Within them are celebrated sites like El Peral, San Pablo, Los Chacayes, Vista Flores, La Consulta, Paraje Altamira, and El Cepillo. The combination of altitude, cooler temperatures, and diverse soils here produces wines of remarkable freshness and elegance. Finally, in South Mendoza, the San Rafael D.O.C. stands out along with General Avear. These areas produce wine with a distinct character and are increasingly gaining recognition in their own right. Focusing on Mendoza's D.O.C. wines, Luján de Cuyo D.O.C. is one of the most prestigious designations. Grapes must be approved by the Government Council, and the wine must be produced and bottled at origin. Vineyards must be at least 10 years old, with trellising and density exceeding 5,000 vines per hectare. Malbec must be the primary variety, making up at least 85% of the blend, while the remaining 15% may include other varieties authorized by regulations. Wines must reach a minimum alcohol of 13.5%, and aging requirements vary by designation. Standard D.O.C. wines must age 18 months from harvest to market, with at least 6 months in wood. D.O.C. wines carrying a district designation, such as Agrelo, Las Compuertas, or Vistalba, require 24 months total aging, with 12 months in barrel. Reserva wines must age at least 6 months for whites and 12 months for reds, while Gran Reserva wines require 1 year for whites and 2 years for reds. San Rafael D.O.C. follows similar rules, maintaining high standards for varietals, vineyard age, and aging. Patagonia's wine regions cover the provinces of La Pampa, Neuquén, Rio Negro, and Chubut. Remarkably, Chubut is home to the world's most southerly commercial vineyard, Bodega Otronilla. The region excels in cooler climate varieties, with Malbec and Pinot Noir being the most prominent grapes. Although vineyards are at lower elevations than those in Mendoza and Salta, the higher latitude compensates, producing grapes with good acidity and aromatic intensity. The climate features sunny days paired with extremely cold nights, helping to preserve freshness and structure in the fruit. Within Patagonia, Rio Negro and Neuquén are the most significant wine-producing areas, accounting for the bulk of the region's output. As for the wines, a Luján de Cuyo D.O.C. Malbec usually presents with colors ranging from ruby to deep purple, with hints of pink, blue, or violet. Staining can be moderate to deep, and viscosity often ranges from medium plus to high. On the nose, some wines show slight volatile acidity, while the fruit profile often includes blackberry, cherry, plum, currant, and raisins, or even blueberry, boysenberry, and raspberry. Fruit may range from ripe to overripe or jammy. Floral notes, particularly red and purple flowers, are common, along with herbal hints like fresh mint and tobacco. Spices such as licorice and black pepper may be present, alongside smoke, bitter chocolate, coffee, dust, potting soil, or even graphite. Oak influence can be apparent. French oak often brings smoke, toast, vanilla, baking spices, and chocolate, whereas American oak can contribute dill, coconut, and vanilla notes. On the palate, these wines are typically dry with medium plus to high alcohol, medium plus to full body. Acidity usually falls in the medium to medium plus range, and tannins are medium to medium plus, but soft and rounded. The finish can range from medium to long with moderate complexity. For Torrontés, the wine site usually shows a pale straw color with hints of green or silver, and viscosity typically ranges from medium to medium plus. On the nose, bright citrus fruit like tangerine, orange, lemon, and lime, alongside topical notes such as pineapple, passion fruit, and lychee. Stone fruits and orchard fruits, yellow and red apple, pear, and melon are often present, sometimes showing tart, ripe, or even candied characteristics. Floral aromas are pronounced, including honeysuckle, acacia, and general fruit blossoms. Herbal and vegetal hints such as dried grass, hay, pine, and eucalyptus may appear, alongside with subtle spice notes such as ginger and clove. Additional nuances may include musk, soap, or potpourri. Occasionally, the wine shows the influence of lees or skin contact, and sometimes a slight minerality. Also, Torrontés is never oaked. On the palate, Torrontés is dry with medium to medium plus alcohol, body, and acidity. A slight phenolic bitterness may be present. The finish is typically medium to medium plus, and the overall complexity can range from moderate to complex. 2021 was marked by spring frost, which reduced yields, a cloudy and cool summer that slowed ripening, in a warm fall, resulting in aromatic wines with intense structure. 2020 experienced a cool, dry winter, a warm spring, and a very hot summer, the warmest in 20 years, producing bold, powerful, and round wines. In 2019, a cool and dry spring and fall combined with a hot summer that included heat spikes, giving wines with concentration balanced by acidity. 2018 saw a warm summer with strong diurnal temperature shifts, with high yields producing wines that are opulent but restrained. 2017 had low yields due to spring frost, a dry warm summer, and a cool fall, resulting in fruit-driven wines with dense tannins. 2016, at the end of the El Niño cycle, was cold and rainy, with large fruit losses and even snow during harvest, producing crunchy, simple wines. 2015 faced hot and humid conditions with high disease pressure and occasional hail, causing up to 50% harvest loss in some vineyards and resulting in lighter wines with lower alcohol. 2014 experienced frost and cold weather along with a rainy fall and high disease pressure, producing high-toned wines. 2013 had a wet spring with high yields, followed by a cool, dry summer and a long, slow ripening period, creating taut, spicy, and lean wines. Finally, 2012 had limited yields due to zonda winds, a hot, dry summer, and rain just before harvest, producing powerful, long-lived wines. Before we wrap up, here are some important producers that you might find on the market, definitely worth exploring. Let's start in Salta. Piatelli's Reserve Malbec from Cafayate showcases the richness of high-altitude fruit. It is plush, fruit-forward, and approachable, with a balance of ripe fruit and spice that makes it a strong international ambassador for the region. Also in Cafayate, Echart stands out as one of the historic houses. Their signature Torrontés captures the grape's vibrant aromatics, floral, citrus, tropical, yet remains crisp and dry. This style helped cement Torrontés as Argentina's flagship white. Staying in Salta, Colomé pushes boundaries with their Altura Maxima vineyard at 3,111 meters. It is one of the highest commercial vineyards in the world. The wines combine remarkable freshness with intensity, reflecting the extreme sunlight and cool nights of the Andes. From there, we move to Matervini, founded by Santiago Achaval. His Alteza project explores extreme terroirs and high-altitude Malbecs with purity and precision. These wines represent Argentina's growing focus on terroir-driven, site-specific bottlings. El Esteco's Don David also honors Salta's heritage. These Malbecs and Cabernet show concentration, ripe fruit, and balance, blending modern technique with traditional Calchaquí Valley character. Now to Mendoza. Luigi Bosca holds historic significance as the first to bottle under the Luján de Cuyo D.O.C. Their Malbec captured the essence of tradition, old vineyards, concentrated fruit, and a balance of oak and freshness, making it a symbol for Argentine heritage. Terrazas de los Andes reflects Mendoza's micro-terroirs. Their single vineyard Las Compuertas Malbec is silky, floral, and precise, an example of Mendoza's shift towards elegance and terroir expression. On the prestige side, Cheval des Andes is a collaboration between Terrazas de los Andes and Chateau Cheval Blanc. Combining Malbec with Cabernet Sauvignon and Petit Verdot, it delivers structure, finesse, and age-worthiness, blending Bordeaux polish with Mendoza's intensity. Another pioneer is Susana Balbo, Argentina's first female master winemaker. She redefined Torrontés, crafting both fresh and barrel-aged styles, and today her brand is recognized worldwide for innovation and precision across multiple varietals. Viña Cobos, founded by Paul Hobbs, set new standards for premium Malbec. Focused on single vineyard wines, Cobos represents power and polish, dense yet elegant expressions with global appeal. Of course, we cannot leave out Catena Zapata. This is Argentina's most iconic name, credited with elevating Malbec to world-class status. Their Adriana vineyard in Guataladi is legendary, producing wines of precision, structure, and elegance. For a classical counterpoint, Bodega's wine art showcases an old world style with long aging in large oak foudres. Their wines emphasize structure and longevity, standing as a benchmark of traditional Argentine winemaking. Finally, we head down south to Patagonia. Bodega's Chacra, founded by Piero Incisa de la Roqueta, crafts biodynamic Pinot Noir from old vines. These wines are delicate and Burgundian in style, highlighting Patagonia's cool climate potential. Nearby, Bodega Noemia focuses on biodynamic Malbec, a project led by Hans Windendiers and Countess Noemi Marone Cinzano. Their wines combine concentration with finesse, reflecting one of the world's southernmost fine wine regions. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever visited Argentina? What's your favorite wine or producer from here? Let's keep this conversation flowing. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you found this helpful, entertaining, or inspiring, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel or following me on Instagram. I'm aiming to share a new presentation every week, so stay tuned for more wine adventures. Until next time, salud!